Hey everybody, it's Dissident here and welcome back to another Paladins video. So, big news today, big reveals, big announcements with this whole new update, the game on, event pass and all that stuff, but I'm not going to be talking about all those little details and the new skins. We're going to be talking about the new champion that is going to come out, Octavia. Octavia is a damage champion. They had a live stream earlier today. We're going to run through the abilities. I'm going to talk a little bit about them, give you my impressions on what I think is going to be good for and all that stuff. Because honestly, seeing like what she can do, all the utilities and her talents, she's going to be crazy. And we haven't even seen her cards and stuff. But like, just wait. What if you guys haven't seen it already? I'm going to go through it with you guys. But if you have, let me know what you think down below about her. Just I like to discuss with you guys. I like to see what other Paladins players like or don't like. It's all good times. It makes the game and community better. But anyway, enough talking. Without further ado, let's get right into it. So we're gonna be playing the video from the stream. So you're gonna hear them talking, and I'm gonna pause and then talk over them to kind of make it a little bit easier to understand the segments that they're talking about. So let's see right now.
Influencer kits that went out to people, kind of just giving a background on who she is, her enlistment into the magistrate, as well as,
Yeah, now that's just how she looks like. They're just kind of showing the design of her. Pretty cool looking champion.
I seen
people of color. We have a disabled person. I love that they're adding diversity into the game.
I would assume she has
we love to see it.
Not just one leg for everything.
So right now they're just going through the cosmetics and the gun, how it looks. She's got a scope. Pretty simple looking.
No.
So her weapon, it's a marksman rifle. It is semi-automatic. She has the scope to zoom in. It's not too much of a magnification. It zooms in a little bit. It zooms in enough for you to see, but it's not like a sniper zoom. So it's semi-automatic. You have to either repeatedly press the trigger or your left click to be able to shoot. Now you can see the reticle, how big that space is. That when she's not ADS'd, her fire rate is increased, but the spread is also a lot more than it would be if you're ADSing. And she also does less damage when she's not ADSing. He's gonna showcase it to you right now.
Rifle that I can bring to the battlefield.
Let's see, so you guys can actually see how it works. I wish it was me playing.
Kind of like be that in between of like I'm not quite as strict. I'm not quite.
So that's him actually
it's kind of
pressing
that
the button.
Style. I have to pull the trigger for every shot that I make. So I'm not holding it down and just.
It has a fast fire rate. He's kind of pressing it slow. Later in the video, he's going to be going bum, 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 bum. It's kind of fast, but doesn't do as much damage, and the spread is huge. So, as you guys know, a lot of champions have passive abilities. Furia has her Wrath, Koga has the wall climbing. Her passive ability, she can choose a passive. So as you can see right there at the beginning of a match, it's kind of like choosing a talent. Whatever you stick with is what you have for the entire match. So her passive is to choose passives. The first one, to decrease the cooldowns of your entire team by 10% for the entire match. That's crazy. 10% for everybody. It's not even just you. It's for the entire team. The next one is Commander's Credit. For every 5 champions eliminated by your team, each member gains 150 credits. That one's cool, but I like the benefits of the other ones more, like especially like Commander Shield, for instance. Your team receives a 500 health shield upon respawning. So if you guys are dying, you're pretty much going to spawn back with 500 health. So that forces the team to get Wrecker. Just because Octavia decided to go Commander Shield, and every time you die and you come back, you get a 500 health shield, which is a lot. Your team has to get Wrecker. The opposite team has to get Wrecker. So that's going to make or break, like it's going to make the opposite team get cards that they didn't even think they would have had to get. So that's cool too. And a Commander's Ultimate, your entire team gets a 15% ultimate charge rate for the entire match. So things like Xin with the Guillotine, and Koga with the Blood Reaper, and then Ceres with the ultimate cards. Let's say, what is it? Zin's Guillotine is 15% charge, so 15 on top of 15, that's a 30% ultimate charge rate. I think Koga is the same way, it's a 15% charge rate, so that's another 30. Her passes are crazy. She's all about helping the team. You're going to see that the abilities that she has later on, that her talents, she's going to be able to help the team in even more ways than just these passive abilities. In my opinion, they're all pretty crazy. My least favorite one so far looks like the Commander's Credits, but the other 3, they're all for grabs. Those 3 passive abilities, just I can't wait to see like mixing and matching and team comps and all that to see like what you can do. She looks like her whole kit is pretty much being a team leader, literally a team leader, helping the team, supporting the team, helping your friends, helping your team with anything. That's her entire role. She's being the commanding officer. She's the leader of the crew. And I love that she has, just from this, such a different playstyle. Speaking about those passive abilities, the opposing team can also see what the Octavia chooses. Kind of like when you base what you're choosing based on what the other talents of the opposing team are using. So you're able to pick against what the Octavia is using because you're able to see what passive she went with exactly. But now for this segment, they're gonna show you more about how she fires, how much damage she does. So I'm not gonna talk a little bit for this section. I'm just gonna show you because I told you how it feels without ADSing. Now they're gonna show you how it is with ADS.
Or I'm just kind of firing.
I'll let him speak for a little bit.
Fired it off pretty quickly. Doesn't do a lot of damage.
Doesn't do too much damage,
because
exactly.
The real meat of Octavia's kit is aiming down sights. And
see how much he was missing, and he wasn't even that far from her.
Again, the weapons team killed it. So we get this nice shift in. It's kind of like a Strix. It's kind of like Vivian. And
it's
Victor,
cool. It's a nice zoom in. It's a nice, comfortable zoom.
Impactful. So we get this really cool custom.
I think it does about 500 base damage. 501.
I'm dealing more damage. She's gonna be dealing 500.
And it seems like it has a bit of fall off.
That's not the final number, but she deals 500 damage, and there is a drop off. So she's effective about up to 900.
Yeah, I saw right there. I guess she's like medium range. She can be long range too, but the fall off was actually kind of harsh. She's on top of there, and Fernando on the ground is not a little bit too far past the point, and it was doing 300 something as opposed to 501. So the difference in damage there is actually pretty big. But I hope they can fix that. I feel like the damage fall off is a little bit too much because that Fernando and the other Fernando aren't too far from each other. That's about a 200 damage difference. So I hope they can possibly change that up a bit. Actually, scratch that 501. I think I remember them saying that it was a bug. It's actually 500. But nonetheless, I feel like the damage fall off is just a little bit too much. Maybe not. Maybe you guys disagree with me. Maybe they disagree with me. But to me, I just feel like the difference in damage and the fall off when they're not even that much further away from each other is kind of a little bit too much. But anyway, let me show you more of what this guy's got. This girl's got, excuse me.
Pretty far. She can put a lot of pressure on the point, but this is the main way that Octavia
266. All right. That's not too bad then. 2 something. That's not too bad.
Otherwise, so we wanted to put a lot of power and impact into her weapon. And as you can hear, and I don't know how everyone feels about it, but the weapon is just...
See right there, 340, and then that one right next to it is 500. I feel like the 100 and something damage, I feel like that's a big difference. Honestly, not too... Maybe they just change it a little bit, make it like 100 less, but from that distance, I don't feel like it should be doing that much less damage. That's just my opinion. Now that we moved on past her left click and her right click, the ADS, the damage numbers and all that, we're going to go on to her abilities. The next one, they're going to be talking about her F, which she pretty much does a huge like leap. Kind of like a buck leap, a Tiberius leap type thing. And she gets some pretty good airtime. Watch, they're going to show it right now. They're going to display it.
Which she has this commanding leap. And
watch.
It's no joke.
She can gain some height and some distance.
She has
it's not... It's pretty good.
People have been asking about.
It's a pretty good leap, because she's more of, I guess, like more of a backline character, not backline like sniper-ish, but backline like she's sitting in her spot. If anybody comes to mess with her or try to attack her, or she just needs to reposition, she can use that. It's pretty good. We love characters that have mobility, especially like an example like Tyra. Tyra does a lot of damage, and if you don't mess with the Tyra, she's just gonna unload on the team. But she doesn't have any mobility at all. The most that she has is when she throws her firebomb and she just moves faster and some other stuff too. I don't remember exactly. But her, Octavia, she has the F to just jump around, get out of a mess, and everything's all good. That's one thing I love already about her is that she has the ability to escape, the ability to move, and who doesn't love mobility? Honestly. Anyway, let's continue. We're going to let him show off the jumping just a little bit more just to see how much she can move around and jump. See the angles that she can reach and the distance she can make. She can also jump. I forgot to mention that too. As you saw there, she jumped backwards, she jumped left. It's not just a forward jump. Whatever direction you're pressing and you press your jump, not your spacebar jump, your F jump, she'll go in that direction. So it's not just one direction, it's omnidirectional. So you can go in whichever direction that you're pressing in that moment in time. So it's a pretty flexible movement ability. One other special thing about Octavia is that whenever she's in the air, regardless if you're using your F or you're falling off a ledge, if you ADS, you right click or you left trigger, you're going to stop your momentum in the air and be able to shoot from the air. I'll let them show it to you, but it's pretty cool. You can completely stop your momentum.
Kind of
They'll show you right now.
We've found that this is delivering.
Boom, right click. You're able to hover for about a second or two.
Easy enough to track, but you
it's
don't know when she's
super cool to do it. Now right there, they're showing her jump a lot, obviously because it's a developer build that she's jumping a lot, so we don't know how often she's going to be able to jump and freeze. But because it's a movement ability, it might be used often. But that whole freeze and ADS thing, you can do it as much as you can. It's not an ability. But you can only do it once per leaving the ground. So let's say you jump off a ledge, you ADS, you freeze, and then you press your F to jump because you can press your F in midair. You can't freeze again. It's only one time while you're in the air. And as soon as you land and jump again or fall off a ledge, you can do it again. You can't repeatedly freeze. As far as I saw, doesn't look like you can do that. So we're going to showcase it one more time.
She gets like a huge
let him jump and do it. It's pretty cool. You can really use it to deceive your enemies.
It's so good to use, and it's such a good moment for you to maybe jump over a ledge, pull up your weapon, fire, drop down. There's just a lot of opportunities for.
I'm waiting for him to do it again.
Interesting moments
if he's gonna
Octavia.
do it.
Yeah, I actually think
there,
one of my
watch.
favorite moments that I've experienced in playtesting.
See, it's pretty cool. You're able to deceive your enemy. So you might not want to do it at the apex of the jump. You might not want to do it right here to deceive them, or do it towards the end. You know, there's a lot of mixing and matching. Or you can do it just to get like a peak angle, maybe jump from that top to like past the corner right here and peek from the wall. You have a lot of different options with that, which is, I'm already loving the playstyle that she has. She has the different passives, and she has different ways to use that freezing in the air ability with the jumping. It just looks like a ton of fun. Another thing about that, though, if you do it predictably, you're going to get punished for it because you are literally standing still in the air. It's kind of like an Androxus. A lot of Androxus players, when they ult, they make it super exposing, and they're just in the air shooting down. I punish those Androxus players just like I would punish an Octavia player. So be wary of that. Try not to use it in an exposing way. Now we're going to go on to her Q. I'm going to let you see what it is, like what it looks like. She pretty much throws down a bubble kind of similar to Makoa, but it's not a shield. I'll show you.
Some players are like, this is great, I love it. And some people are like, oh no, why? Right?
See how it has that bubble shield effect, but it's not a shield. You can shoot through it and enemies can shoot through it. But here's the complicated part. It's a disorienting field. So anybody on your team, you can see through it. You can shoot through it. All that good stuff. But anybody on the opposing team, you cannot see past it. If you're on the outside of the shield, you cannot see through it. You can shoot through it, like I said. But you can't see past it. It's a big, like, ball of darkness and ugliness and all that stuff. And if you're inside it, same difference. If you're an enemy and you're inside it, it's the same difference. You can't see through it. So it's really good. Like I was discussing with a friend earlier today, we were both watching the stream. It's good for choke points. Blocking, you can use it defensively, you can use it offensively. It's pretty cool. There's nothing like that in this game besides like a flashbang and a good night. I guess it's kind of similar to that in a sense. But those are ultimates. This is just a basic Q ability. So there's going to be a lot of plays with that. I can't wait to get into the PTS and try all that stuff. But that's what it does. So that's what it looks like to you as a team. Then they're going to show what it looks like as an enemy. I'll get to that part real quick. So this segment, you're going to see what it looks like if you are getting distortion field. So an enemy Octavia is going to distort you. And you're going to see what it looks like as an enemy opponent. And I'm going to let him speak a little bit to show you what else that Octavia can do for our distortion fields.
So this is what you're going to
see
see.
that effect.
Thank you, Kevin and Anthony. But that is what an enemy
He'll do it more.
distortion field looks like. As you can see, you can't see into it. We'll get into one slight discrepancy with that, but right now, Octavia, she throws out that distortion field.
Enemy Octavia,
and,
throws
okay,
the distortion
I can't
field.
see into it.
You can't see into
Creates
it.
this really cool
You can't see
disorienting
past it.
effect. I'm slightly slowed while I'm inside of it, but she's gaining control. Now, because of Octavia, we added a little bit of like an interesting combo. So an Octavia can always see into distortion fields. She can see into an enemy's distortion field. She's the only one that can do that. So while your team can't see into an enemy,
There you go. That's an interesting one because it's not going to apply all the time. If you're playing casuals and you have 2 Octavias, that's going to make a difference because you're going to be able to see through it. I guess if you ADS, you're going to see through the enemy's distortion field. But in ranked or any, I think, competitive scene, that's not going to be able to happen. There's only going to be 1 Octavia. So that one's like it's cool for casuals, but for ranked it doesn't really make a difference. But regardless, Octavia can see through any distortion field. We're going to show you the effect just one more time.
she's going to have a better idea.
Get her
of what's
better
going
look at
on
how it is.
times. But as you can see, just real quick, like this VFX, and I don't know how you all feel, but like
I personally think it's pretty cool. It's meant to be that. It's meant to be disorienting. And it doesn't look like it lasts too long. You see how Octavia can see inside of the enemy one? Pretty cool thing, but I don't think it's going to be too useful in the ranked scene because there can only be 1 Octavia. But it's a pretty cool thing. It doesn't look like it lasts too long. It's meant to disorient. I don't know the cooldown of it yet, per se. So maybe she won't even be able to use it that often. We don't know yet. But regardless, it's pretty cool. Alright, so now we got the Q out of the way. I love the Q. I love the F, the mobility. It's super cool. But now we're going to get into her ultimate, which to me, it's pretty cool. I feel like it's decent. Like, it's good. It'll work. But to me, it looks a little bit inconsistent. But you're going to see what it is. I'm going to showcase it for you. I'm going to let them show it. Then I'll talk about it.
And then, we can look at, like, how does she clear the battlefield? What's her ultimate like? And we kind of went through and we found that maybe she needs something that is just going to push the enemy down. She wants to say, hey, let's move forward. Let's finish this fight. So we've created something called the creeping barrage. A little bit of
it looks cool.
With the barrage,
trust me.
But instead, I cast it once, and it goes out in a line. And again,
850 damage. That's how much it does.
I think the ult speaks for itself.
So, her ultimate pretty much, where you aim, it'll place a base, I'm going to call it just a lightning barrage. It'll place a lightning barrage beam, and whatever direction you place it in, it'll go straight, and multiple will scatter, but going in that direction. It won't scatter around a huge vicinity. It'll go like this, and left, and right, and all like that. It'll do 850 damage. You can hit multiple people at once. So it looks like it's definitely going to be something like chaotic. If you don't expect it, you're probably going to be panicking. You might run into another one trying to evade it. So it definitely adds some pressure. If she gets it often, it's going to be pretty cool. Just like if she goes the passive that she gets the ultimate charge, she's going to be throwing those things maybe like nothing. So she's going to have a lot of, I would say, point control with that ultimate ability. So excuse me, I rewatched it again. It's not where you aim exactly. Like, you can't aim all the way towards the opposite side and it'll start there. It'll start in front of you, but it will go in that direction that you're facing. My apologies on that one. I messed that one up a little bit. But regardless, it'll go in the direction that you are aiming. But there's one more thing to her ultimate, to the first beam that hits. And we're going to show you right now. He's going to discuss it.
Actually, 2 parts, and it's a little hard to see, but it's there. So you have a pre-fire beam, and then you have the large beam that comes about a half second
That beam.
behind that. So that first initial beam does a small amount of damage if it hits. It's kind of hard to hit, and it also pops shields. So if someone's unlucky enough, or if they get hit with it, it will destroy their shield.
Like he said, it's hard to hit. That first initial beam, the first one that's right in front of you, excuse me, it can destroy any shield. And it says it doesn't do as much damage, but it will just destroy any shield. To me, that just sounds like it'll destroy a Makoa shield, because that thing is huge. That big dome, that's really the kink of it. It doesn't do as much damage, but it just instantly destroys shields. That's what he pretty much said. I don't think there's anything else to it.
The other part then, that second beam is the main damaging section of it. And that's going to deal, as you can see here, about 850 damage.
There you go. So he's just
that
talking
beam.
about that.
And this
So he's pretty much saying that the ultimate is in two parts. It's the main beam that destroys the shield if you happen to hit it. And then the second part of the beams that they just run through and they do 850 damage. Which is actually more than I thought it was. I ran through it and I was explaining to my friend that it was 600 because another friend of mine hadn't seen it. But I actually am wrong and I'm going to tell him now that it's 850 damage. That's a lot more. To me, her ultimate's pretty cool. It's nothing crazy. It doesn't seem like it's broken, but it seems like it's gonna be pretty fun to use. Who doesn't think that's sick? Just throwing a barrage of lightning at people. Come on. One more thing about her ultimate. If you know a Furia beam, that thing that she just throws and it goes straight through everything, or kind of like a Genos beam, how it just goes through like all walls and all this and all that, her lightning works the same way. It'll go through walls, it'll go through obstacles and all that. So that's how that works. It runs through literally everything. Now we got the ultimate out of the way, we're going to be talking about the talents. To me, her talents are, so far, I don't know the numbers of anything yet. The talents are crazy looking. I'm going to let him explain the first one, and then I'll comment after.
Looks like
let's start with Hell or High Water.
Water.
Correct.
To me, this one looks super cool.
This is a leap talent, so now when Octavia, it alters her leap. So whenever she jumps and she lands, she creates a healing pool for her and her allies. And Octavia gains, for that duration, she gains no ammo consumption. She's the only one who gets...
There you go. So, honestly, I thought it was like Bounce House for a second. She was going to land and everybody's going to go boof. But it's actually cooler than I thought it was. So, she lands after her F jump. She lands and it creates a health pool. So, you and any one of your teammates that are in it can also heal. And also, you don't consume any ammo while you're inside of it. So, to me, seeing that, obviously it's an escape for you to go away and heal yourself really fast. Maybe save yourself from a one-on-one fight real quick. But I also thought of it as like an anti-flank type of thing, because Octavia is more of a backline character, not to be like too much in the fray. So let's say you have a Furia like sort of to the left of you, or a healer or anything like to the side, or another damage, and they're getting flanked. You could jump to them. Hopefully they're in the vicinity still to get healed by your pool, and you're able to help them finish off that fight, get rid of that flank, because you're going to be able to be there spamming your left click because you don't consume ammo, and you and your teammate are going to get healed. So I think of this one as like an anti-flank thing, helping out your teammates that are low, anything like that. Regardless if it be a flank, it could be a damage trying to just go around, pop at your friend. You know, just anything like that. I think it's pretty cool. You're going to see Octavia's jumping around, healing their teammates, jumping, helping this one. There's a Tyro coming from the right side. Let me help you, Furia. Like, things like that. So I think that talent is pretty cool. But just wait, again, till you see the next one. I like the talent a lot because it just looks like she can come into clutch. That one with the jumping, she can really just come into clutch, save the day. Like they said from the beginning, she's really just about helping and supporting your team, but she's also there to dish out the damage. She's definitely a totally different champion that none of us are used to. So the next talent has to do with her Q, which is the whole disorienting thing. I'm going to let him show it for you again, and I'll talk about it.
Talk about that anyways. This is the... My bad. This is the Distortion Field talent. So many words. This Distortion Field talent now...
Look.
Deal damage to enemies within it and heal allies while they're inside of it. And as you can see, we also did a treatment on the VFX for the bubble. So this, while you have this talent equipped, your VFX is going to have that kind of really cool electrical look to it. That raw.
That's cool.
I think he nailed, and
that's cool. That's
thank
cool.
him so much for getting that in, because it just looks.
So, that one, he just talked about a little bit about visual effects, but that one's cool too. You can see the damage numbers. It says the enemies were taking 125 damage from the Q, but we don't know how much it heals. We don't know how much the F talent heals for, the jumping one, and we don't know how much the Q talent heals for. We don't have numbers yet. So we don't know which one is going to be the best one to go for. Exactly. You can play her so many different ways, but the point is, it's a big area to be taking 125 damage, and you are also getting slowed while you're inside it, and your teammates are getting healed while you're inside it, and the opposing team can't see anything around it. Like, I feel like that Q is probably going to be the way to go. Like, that talent. Because it just does so much for you and your team at the same time. So I feel like that one's really just going to be hectic. You're going to see teammates getting healed, enemies getting blinded, enemies taking damage. It's going to be a huge mess. And I can't wait. Maybe they'll change some things about it in the PTS. We still have a month to go till that update comes. But that Q talent is crazy.
So cool. So yeah, you're damaging your enemies and you're
125.
Your allies.
It's
so just
so
another
cool.
moment where it's like, hey, maybe I want to play this a little differently.
Let me see. Is that it for this one?
Our final
Yes.
talent.
Now this one's pretty self-explanatory. I'm going to let him show it to you, but this one, it pretty much supercharges your ultimate like he says. It just does not twice as much damage, just does a lot more damage from 850 to like 14 something. I'll let him show you.
Is display of force. This will alter the way that you use your ult just a little bit. It's super.
It doesn't do anything
now
different
my ult
besides
is
the
going
damage
to
number.
deal 1450 damage, so
1450
extra damage, and it will root enemies if they are hit by that pre-fire.
There you go. That part I forgot.
This is like, I just want my ult to deal more damage.
So it'll also cripple it, kind of like I guess a Grover axe when he goes the deep roots. Anybody that get hits by the lightning, they get rooted, and they get hit for 1450, which is 600 more damage. So that one, it's cool. Again, we have to see how much she gets her ultimate. You might want to run that if you're going the ultimate charge, or you just want to go for another passive and get morale boost and then go with that talent. It seems like she has a lot of mixing and matching, which again, I think is super cool for a champion. She just has so many different ways to play. Literally like support, she can do damage, she can do this, she can be offensive, she can be defensive. It's all kinds of different things. But to me, I feel like that talent, you never know. To me, that one just sounds like okay. Not bad, but okay. It sounds good. But the other two to me just sound better. I don't know. We're just gonna have to wait to find out, see how it actually feels when we're playing it. See, it's running through them, doing the 1450. Does a lot of damage though. Not gonna lie. And I think that's the end of Octavia.
I'm really excited for
And that's a new
to
spray.
get in there and play around with her and see.
That's Octavia. She does a lot of stuff. There's a whole bunch of other things too. I'm sure they're gonna post it on their website and on their Twitter. But Octavia is the thing that just really shook me the most. I love her entire kit. I just think it's so different. Has so much utility to her, especially with the talents. I can't wait to see what her cards do. That's gonna be the crazy part. There's gonna be so many different variations of Octavia, doing the leaping one, doing ultimate ones, doing Q ones. It might be like cooldown resets, all that stuff. We don't know the stuff that she's gonna have, so it's gonna be crazy. But anyway, that's Octavia and her base abilities. It's just a discussion video for me to talk to you guys. You guys let me know too what you think about her. If you guys like her or not. Do you think there's things that need to be changed? I feel like there is a few things that need to be changed. Like I said, the damage fall off, I feel like definitely needs to be changed. They might mess, like what they said, they might mess with the visual effect of the Q, so that might be changed. The ultimate, I don't know what they can do with it more, because it does a lot of damage, and these people are standing still. In a real game, people are going to be moving around, probably getting hit by the ultimate more. So I don't really know what exactly to change yet. I don't know the numbers, but to me, those are just a few things that I would change. So with all that being said, make sure to comment down below. Let me guys know what you think of Octavia. Please make sure to leave a like and subscribe, and I'll see you all next time.